Mr. President.
Republican Leader.
The bipartisan government funding bill before this body is imperfect but strong. It will make huge new investments in our armed forces while cutting non-defense, non-veterans baseline spending in real dollars. So let me say that again. The world's greatest military will get the funding increases that it needs, outpacing inflation. Meanwhile, non-defense, non-veterans spending will come in below the rate of inflation for a real dollar cut. This is a debate about American security, American service members, and American interests on the world stage. Month after month, year after year, competitors such as China are methodically pouring money and planning into upgrading and modernizing their own militaries. They're constantly probing new ways to expand their military, intelligence, economic, and political reach, indirectly or directly threatening American forces and our allies and partners' forces. So under these perilous circumstances, cutting defense spending in real dollars, as Democrats first wanted to do, is simply not an option. And embarking on a potentially endless cycle of continuing resolutions that give our military real dollar funding cuts because of inflation and give Defense Department leaders no certainty whatsoever, to either plan or to invest, that's simply not an an opt. There's no question the bipartisan funding bill is certainly imperfect. If Senate Republicans control this chamber, we would have handled the appropriations process entirely differently from top to bottom. But given the reality of where we stand today, senators have two options this week, just two. We will either give our armed forces the resources and the certainty that they need, or we will deny it to them. Finally, on a related matter, today, members of Congress will have the opportunity to assemble in a joint meeting and hear from President Zelensky of Ukraine. I look forward to welcoming President Zelensky to the Capitol and to hearing from the Ukrainian people's elected leader at a critical moment in their struggle for their safety and their sovereignty against Russia's unhinged aggression. The people of Ukraine have reminded the entire free world about the meaning of sovereignty and the price of freedom. They fought back against the invaders with inspiring bravery. And let's be clear, the reason that a big bipartisan majority of the American people, bipartisan majorities in Congress, support continuing to assist Ukraine is not primarily about inspiring speeches or desire to engage in philanthropy. The Ukrainian people are courageous and innocent, and they deserve our help. President Zelensky is an inspiring leader, but the most basic reasons for continuing to help Ukraine degrade and defeat the Russian invaders are cold, hard, practical American interests. Helping equip our friends in Eastern Europe to win this war is also a direct investment in reducing Putin's future capabilities to menace American, threaten our allies, and contest our core interests. Defeating the Russians will help prevent further security crises in Europe. It will prevent even further economic chaos that would roil key American trading partners and hurt American workers and families directly. It will massively wear down the arsenal that is available to Putin for future efforts to use bullying and bloodshed to redraw still other borders down the road. And it will send a stark warning to other would-be aggressors, like the People's Republic of China. By assisting Ukraine today, America is directly demonstrating our commitment to the basic principles of territorial integrity and national sovereignty, changing the calculus for others considering military aggression, and lowering the odds of a far costlier and far more deadly future conflicts in the process. So I'll say it one more time. Continuing our support for Ukraine is morally right, but it's not only that, it's also a direct investment in cold, hard American interest. That's why Republicans rejected That's why Republicans rejected the Biden administration's original request for Ukraine assistance. Insufficient. The administration's initial plan assumed there would be a lull in fighting over the winter, and so the disbursement rates of weapons would actually decrease. But hoping for the best cannot mean that we fail to prepare for the worst. Rather than slowing assistance, we should be speeding up international deliveries to Ukraine to help them take back more territory and better prepare for wherever they next go on their offensive. So Republicans pushed hard here in the Senate to increase the amount of security assistance in this bill. I'm glad our Democratic colleagues came around. The agreement on the table increases weapons purchases to support Ukraine beyond the President's request. This assistance is in our interest, but it is also in America's economic interest. These investments will help expand our defense manufacturing capacity and contribute to high-paying American jobs. The money is tied to strong oversight requirements to ensure that America's investments reach only the intended targets. There has been meaningful oversight over our Ukraine assistance all along the way, including by 3 separate general and the Government Accountability Office. And if on top of that, last week's NDAA will put in place even further expansions in oversight, more in-use monitoring, and stricter reporting requirements. And, Mr. President, the oversight won't stop there. Just as Senate ranking members have worked hard to maximize the impact of our assistance, the incoming House Republican majority will be able to use their gavels to keep an even closer eye on Ukraine aid and make sure the Biden administration is doing everything possible to rebuild our defense industrial base. While America is uniquely capable of leading this effort, we should not and are not doing so all by ourselves. Vital Eastern Front allies and partners in Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and Finland have risen to the challenge of backing Ukraine in the fight against tyranny. So too have some Western European powers. And some allies across Europe deserve credit for changing course, making substantial investments in their own militaries, and starting to unwind years of neglect of national. But some other European allies have lagged behind. They can and must do more, both to stand with Ukraine today and to rebuild their own strength going forward. Finally, we all know that Ukraine's fight to retake its territory is neither the beginning nor the end of the West's broader strategic competition with Putin's Russia. Increasing the pressure on Putin's regime can and should be a bipartisan priority. That will take concrete steps, like sanctions with teeth, not empty symbolism. If our Democratic colleagues are serious about joining this effort, Republicans stand ready to expose Russia's long trail of wartime atrocities and meaningfully ratchet up the economic and political cost that Russia pays for its misdeeds, from Ukraine to Georgia to Moldova to the Middle East and beyond. These threats and atrocities require more than symbols and resolutions. They require concrete actions and consequences. The plight of the innocent people of Ukraine is offering the world the starkest, most painful, and most personal reminder imaginable that global security and national self-determination do not uphold themselves, that peace is far from inevitable, and freedom is far from self-fulfilling, that countries who benefit from global stability need to help deter countries who want chaos. But even against the barbaric horrors of a war they never asked for, even in the face of torture, executions, and inhuman attacks on infrastructure, and systematic terror campaigns against civilian cities, against all these things, against the cold fate that Putin has tried to deal Ukraine, we have seen the warmth of the Ukrainian people's spirits win out. Their love for their homeland, for their families, for their freedom. The United States Congress will be honored to hear the message that their courageous president brings to us on behalf of the brave citizens he represents.